Good morning once again, and welcome to Gillie Priest Revolutionary Channel. As we have been known for the last couple of months, we have been indulging organizing the Forged by Time Limited Deportation Conference, which will be held on August 17th at the Simon Boulevard Cultural Center, located at 10-12 North Parade. That's right at the northern part of the park in downtown Kingston, the William Grant Park. And this is just another opportunity for me to kind of update the brethren and sisters and the latest development and where do we go from here in continuing the organization. Let me begin by always giving credit to those who are supporting us and sponsoring us along this journey. We have the brethren, the Badass from out of England, Chihuahua from out of Georgia in the United States, Robert Barnes from Florida, who have entertained us and given us the opportunity to broadcast and to advertise the upcoming event out of Florida. Robert Barnes again. And another brethren named Giza from out of Africa has given us support. Abdul from out of France. And Mr. C, another radio personality from out of Florida. The Pudding Factory, that's in St. Anne's, that's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, pudding producing places in Jamaica. They have given us support. Let's not also forget Carla Golata, a resident who is the head of several organizations in Jamaica, which I also believe the Jamaican Council of Human Rights. She has given us space, in her office to function out of once a day. That is down by 131 Tower Street, right at the corner, basically at the corner of Tower Street and Duke Street. Jerry Small, another prominent personality within Jamaica, has given us support in terms of moral support, ethical support, and basically pass on to others the good work that we are doing. Kaboom of Irie FM, I have to give her a shout out also because she has given the organization, which is Forged by Time Limited, access twice on our radio program to voice out on our development. So big up to her too. And also Kumenelik. Kumenelik is a radio personality on Base 100 FM in Jamaica. He has also given us the opportunity. And a young version that work on the same station with him by the name of Anthony, he has given us support. There are also others who have made call to me, giving basically moral and ethical support, and even some giving spiritual support while we move on this journey forward to fulfill this mission. I'm putting on the first National Deportee Conference, and for those who basically refer to it as the involuntary reintegration of returning migrants, kind of a long name that, but some people are comfortable with that. So whenever I remember, I use that term. But for me, I use the term deported short, it's straight to the point. It confronts the issue. And it is a pronoun. It is a pronoun in the sense when you use it, it kind of leaves the people imagination where they want to think about the group of people that it identifies. So as we move along, we have less than 30 days now to go in manifesting this function. That's been again put on by Forged by Time Limited, and once again will be held at the Simon Boulevard Cultural Center, located at 10-12 North Parade, right at the corner of North Parade and Church Street. It is a three-way junction, really. It's North Parade, Church Street, and Sutton Street, right at that intersection right there. The main entrance to the building is on North Parade. But from my experience, whenever we use the building on weekend for function, we tend to use the side entrance that is on Church Street. So remember that. On the day of the event, most likely the entrance into the building will be the entrance that will be used at the side of the building on Church Street. Not the main entrance that is on the front side of North Parade, but the front of the building is on North Parade. Another thing I would like to talk about Forged by Time Limited, and it is a function. It is a main aspect that I have always pointed out to my viewers and listeners, sympathizers and empathizers. One of the main drawbacks that I see with a lot of these organizations that try to assist us in Jamaica, and there's nothing wrong with their giving us assistance, and there's nothing wrong with their approach, but they are basically non-profit organizations, and non-profit have to function within a certain aspect of the company's office laws of Jamaica, rules and regulation. So basically it is an organization whenever you are a non-profit where you have to solicit resources from other entities, whether from public or private entities, in order to provide the services that you want to provide for your members. In our case, people are being deported to Jamaica. Ever since I was in the system, me and the brethren that we meet and collaborate, we decided that we was not going to do a non-profit. There are enough non-profits out there, right? And the needs of, we believe that the needs of the returning residents to Jamaica, a lot of time is not going to be satisfied through solely a non-profit means. So we decided to establish a profit company social enterprise engagement. Now, what is a for-profit organization that's dealing with social enterprise? You're talking about, just like, let me give you an example. You have a company that say, okay, they are going to package fish, or they are going to package meat, or they are going to process any type of produce to sell to the public. A regular private enterprise company solely exists to make profit for its owners and investors. That's their sole reason for existing, to make profits for the investors and owners. A private company that engages in social enterprise is to provide services to the public on a social level, where profit is not the main motive, but it also engages in profit-making engagements. So again, companies that exist on a private level to provide goods to our people like meat, fish, clothing, cars, build houses, whatever, they are in business solely to make a profit. A for-profit business that engages in social enterprise is a company that exists to provide a social service to a group of people within society, in our case, returning resident, aka deportees, on a profit-making basis. That way, we can make a profit, build an industry, and then turn around and employ people who we are services. In our particular case, again, to employ people who are being deported. But that does not mean we will only employ people who are deported, because to run a fully functioning company, you have to employ people with the skills. Skills is a #1 priority in running an efficient company. So while we will have to employ people with the necessary and required skill in order to have a fully effective running company, if people who are deported can meet that criteria, yes, we will employ them. But we have to make sure that the administration of the company, the executives of the company, be it deportees or not, have to be competent in the areas of competence which will be required. Then, on the other scale of this private engagement company, we will seek to employ people who are deported with skills in each and every field. Mechanics, mason, agriculture. We intend to branch this social enterprise company, Forged by Time Limited, out into each and every area that we have that will be inclusive of the competence of the people who are deported. Now, at the level where we are at the present moment, we are basically at the bottom of establishing the Forged by Time Limited. We are already registered as a legal entity, business social enterprise company in Jamaica. We already established a relationship with the banking system. We already established a relationship with the taxing system, the tax office of Jamaica. So in moving forward, we kind of lay out to you our intent and where we intend to go with it. Now we are also, this is where we need, in order to get up and running and to start being more effective, because at the present moment we are providing service, but the most of the service that we are providing are referral service. Whenever we are contacted by anyone, we refer them to to offices and agencies and entities that can provide them with the service that they've initially requested from us. So that's a service we are providing. We are also providing service in terms of giving letters of assurances to people who are imprisoned in foreign countries, who are seeking letters of assurance, basically stating that which will they be able to present to the parole board in the country where they are incarcerated, which is basically giving assurance that once they return to Jamaica, if they are deported, we'll be able to assist them in terms of referral services at the present moment, services which we hope to expand upon in the future. No more, I make a personal appeal to the brethren them and sisters them who is listening to this program, and to those who it will be eventually passed on to. And again, I always stress sympathizers and empathizers, family members and people who have been actually deported. One of the first area we would like to get involved in is in agriculture, in terms of accessing land, land that is productive enough, where we can plant, grow, and sell and engage in import and export business based upon these produce that we will be able to produce, employ people who are returned to this country, and basically get people on their footing. We do not intend for people, for example, to employ a person from a young age until retirement. Yes, there may be occasion where that may, but we need people to come in, earn a living, practice a craft, and then go off on their own and branch out and get involved in their own agricultural production, whether in animal husbandry or produce. So we really reach out to people and ask the people, for those who can give us access to land, those who can give us land lease at a reasonable price, those who can donate land to Forge by Time Limited. We need that land start. We need to get our hand on a piece of land that we can immediately start producing. And we know sometimes we have brethren and sisters who are Jamaicans who are in foreign countries where they have access to land and the land basically lay dormant. You understand? So we are making appeal. Forge by Time is making appeal to our viewers and listeners, asking them if they can just take us into consideration to donate a piece of land to us. So we'll be able to develop the skill of land management, land production, agricultural production, animal husbandry. These are the areas we intend to get in order to give employment to some of our deportees, some of our involuntary returning residents who wishes to get involved into agriculture. At the same time, in getting land, we are going to need implements, we are going to need tools, we are going to need seeds, we are going to need everything that go with developing an agriculture industry, an agricultural base. So again, we are appealing to the brethren and sisters, for those who can give us access to land, and would rather land that is donated to us, or land that is given to us on a long-term basis to use, even if the land is not actually donated to Forge by Time Limited, but giving us access to the land where we can develop the land, start production, and employ the permanent resident. At this moment, we are also in need of a vehicle. Why we are in need of an immediate vehicle is Jamaicans are deported to this country, basically, especially from the United States, every last Thursday of the month. There are other people who are deported to the country from Canada, England, and some other miscellaneous country where you may have one or two deportees coming in on basically commercial flights. So by we having access to a vehicle, we will be able to go to make arrangements with the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of National Security, that when these planes land, we can go to the airport and engage these people, able to pick up these people who sometimes have nowhere to go. We may be able to make arrangements for them to take them to shelters or private dwellings that can put them up. You have people even who are being returned in this country, have no family, have no friends, but their family who reside in foreign country is willing to, say for example, rent a Airbnb for them, rent a hotel room for them for a week or two in order to stabilize themselves until their family come down and make more long-term arrangement. So we need a vehicle. We are asking someone who can donate a vehicle to Forge by Time Limited. At the present moment, to be honest, we will take any type of vehicle, even if we have to get it and then get someone else to sponsor to repair it, put it in a better condition, fix it up. Most accommodating, sometimes when you go to the airport, you may have to pick up from past experience with other organizations. You may have to engage with 8, 9, 10 people. So that will give us having a small SUV type of vehicle, something that can hold and carry between 7 and 10 people would be even more accommodating. So we are asking anyone out there in earshot and view shot of this Gillie Priest Revolutionary Challenge presentation to please consider giving us a vehicle or speaking to a third party who may be able to provide us with a vehicle. A vehicle is relatively, second-hand vehicle is relatively cheap in Jamaica. We're talking about maybe in good condition, registering it, insuring it, and doing everything. Maybe not even more than $7,000 to $8,000, foreign $1,000. And if we can get someone in Jamaica donate the vehicle, and if it's in relatively good condition, then we can ask other people to sponsor it, to put it in operational condition and basically good condition where we can travel and go. So we are looking land and we are looking at vehicle. Right now we are looking one good condition vehicle where we can transport the virgins and sisters from the airport, those that need assistance, because sometimes people come down and they have somewhere to go, but guess what? They have no money, they don't have a dollar in their pocket to go from the airport to where they live at. So we need to engage with that. And what we will do in order after that now to keep perpetuating that the vehicle pay for itself, so that we do not have to keep going and soliciting funds from anyone for the upkeep of the vehicle. Then what we will do, we will employ a person who has been deported eventually to drive the vehicle, and we may be able to put it on the road as a public passenger vehicle in order to raise funds to further the intentions and services we intend to provide to returning residents. At the present moment, out of the good grace and generosity of Sister Carla Golata, who runs the Jamaican Council of Human Rights, we are able to function 1 day a week out of our office space. Eventually, we are going to need our own office, our own space, where we can accommodate more people, where we can accommodate more technological equipment, which will make us more efficient in providing these services. So anyone who can get us access to an office space, anyone who have an old abandoned building within the corporate area, or even an office space where they could give us a long-term lease and at a reasonable price, and someone who could sponsor the leasing arrangement, would accommodate it. But eventually, getting our own building would be a blessing, and that is our main intention. So anyone out there who in the earshot who may have a building somewhere where we can access, especially in the corporate areas, and eventually we are going to need buildings and spaces to be given to us and donated to us in all 14 parishes in Jamaica. But what we are hoping is that by we developing Forged by Time Limited as a profit-based company, we will be able to use funds that are raised, funds that are produced from goods and services provided by Forged by Time Limited, to build our own enterprise, to buy our own land, to buy our own vehicle, owned straight out by the company. That is our final intention with that. At the present moment, we have basically 4 of us, 3 main one and 1 auxiliary, who is basically working as the executive team for Forged by Time Limited on a daily basis. These brethren have no reasonable, stable income in order to be really dedicating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, services to Forged by Time Limited, when we know that they have to provide for themselves and their families. But they are still dedicating whatever time they can on a daily basis. Our duty in the long run is to be able to produce enough goods and services on a profit basis where we can, including myself, where we can provide salaries, where we can have a reasonable amount of salary, where we can pay our bills and existence. So that is what we're looking for. So again, brethren and sisters, we're looking for people to, at this present moment in our initial stage of the development, anyone who can donate land or give us access to land. If you choose not to give us the land outright, then we will settle for giving us access to it on a long-term legal basis. You still own the land, but you're giving us the opportunity to work it and to develop a base of employment for our returning residents. We are looking for a vehicle. We are most in need of a vehicle in terms of priority at this time than at any other time. One, we are doing a lot of running around developing up in this organization, this enterprise organization. We want to get engaged in ghost beginning as soon as possible by going out to the airport to engaging with these deportees, returning residents, and for those who need vehicle assistance immediately, we will be able to provide it for them. And on a more long-term basis, we are looking forward to owning our own building. So again, anyone who can assist us in this area, we would appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. For those who have been following the news within the last couple of weeks, on July 16, a Jamaican by the name of Harvey Litoria was deported from the United States of America, and he was sent to Eswatini, a country in southern Africa that was formerly known as Swaziland. Now, while I'm tracking what's happening to him and these broadcasts pertaining to his deportation, along with 4 other foreigners to Eswatini in southern Africa, there have been a lot of misinformation about this person, this individual, the circumstances under which he was deported. And when I watch all the news, they have reduced him to a non-entity. None of these news outlets, none of these bloggers had even spent time to try to find out what's the name of this Jamaican. He's just referred to as a Jamaican, some non-entity. Well, I'm giving you his name. His name is Harvey Litoria. And why do I get his name, Harvey Litoria? Because I was incarcerated at one time with Harvey Litoria, a Jamaican, and if I'm not mistaken, basically I think in born and go in a Port Royal, over in a Port Royal, if my memory serves me right. Now, when you listen to the news outlet and the podcast, it sounds as if this individual did 25 years in prison, and after he completed his sentence, he was deported. No, Mr. Litoria was found rehabilitated enough to be released inside the United States of America. Mr. Litoria, if my memory serves me right, was released from incarceration maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, because he was released before I was released out of the system. And he was released to New York, and he was living with his family, and he was working. And while incarcerated, he was a university student. He was a student, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in Mercy College and also in New York Theological Seminary. But this was a person who was found by the New York State Parole Board to be rehabilitated enough to be released to New York State, where he was living with his family while working, while engaging in employment. But when you listen to the news and the outlet, these were people who was, quote unquote, found undesirable even in the country of their birth. And that was why they were deported to a third country, which is Eswatini. So all that is a lie, all that is fabricated. And even bloggers right here in Jamaica is running with that. That is an established fact. Nothing is more further from the truth when it comes to Mr. Harvey Litoria. What happened was, prior to July 16, while Mr. Litoria was working, he was sent a document from the immigration process, as what is being done to everyone in the United States now since the election of Donald Trump. So people who the system found rehabilitated, who deserve a second chance in the United States, this gratitude was withdrawn by the present immigration system, the ICE system in the United States. So he was sent a letter and asked to report to the immigration center, and he reported to the immigration center, and he was released back and told to come back in 90 days. And when he returned in 90 days, that was when they detained him. They started the process for him to be deported in Jamaica. He was placed on a plane somewhere in New York. Because they have a way when they detain you. You may go to New Jersey if you are detained in New York, or you may be detained in New York. At the present moment, I have no information on where he was actually detained. But an information I received, which came from a third party, members of his family, he was placed on a plane prior to July 16th to be deported to Jamaica. Now, when they are deporting you, they make several stops to pick other people up who are being deported to the same region, not necessarily the same country, but the same region. Upon reaching Louisiana, from what I was heard, I cannot testify to this, but from what I heard, he was on his way upon leaving wherever he was in New York and taken to Louisiana. He was taken off the plane in Louisiana. I think they may have came to some realization that the paper processing for him to be delivered and accepted in his country of his home, of his birth in Jamaica, was not finalized. So they took him off the plane. What happened now is once they took him off the plane, the Supreme Court in the United States ruled that Donald Trump can deport people to third-party countries. So what they did, they just put him on the next flight. The next flight was July 16th. And that was how Harvey Latoria ended up in Eswatini, in the southern African country formerly known as Swaziland, which is a country which is basically, not totally, but basically surrounded by South Africa. So here is where we are, right? Harville was not taken from prison at the completion of his sentence and deported to Africa and was found as undesirable in his own country. All that is a lie. All that is a fabrication. And to say news outlet and to say poor people, even poor people in Jamaica and we are black, just grab that and run with it because they're looking for subscribers. And this is something that is endemic to our society. Anything the white man say, we take as gospel. Anything the white man say, we take and run with it. All of a sudden, this man now become the most barbaric Jamaica that ever existed, to the point where his own country reject him. The man was tried and convicted for murder. Every day people get tried and convicted for murder and get deported to Jamaica. There was nothing different with him case than the other cases. But this is the state of the mind where we're in. Chasing subscribers, chasing TikTok dollars, chasing YouTube dollars. This is what caused people to just run with the misinformation. No one is saying that the man was found by the New York State Parole Board rehabilitated enough to be released back into society. No one was able to go and find out the fact that the man has been living in New York State since his release from prison for maybe 3, 4, 5 years. That the man was told to report to immigration and he reported and he was released. And you went from that to being the most barbaric, quote unquote, most barbaric criminal upon the face of the earth. This is where we are. So we are asking the Jamaican government, we are asking international organizations, we are asking members of the United Nations to intervene. This man has no family members in Eswatini in Southern Africa. This man has no friend. This man has no cultural attachment. This man has no attachment. And the man is presently incarcerated in solitary confinement in the foreign country. And this is the state of affairs that we're in. So he was never refused by Jamaica. He was taken off the plane on the day when he was to be sent to Jamaica because some realization came about by the immigration official that the man was not totally processed. So he was removed from the flight. And then it so happened by misfortune that days later, the United States Supreme Court ruled that Donald Trump can send foreigners who are slated for deportation to third-party countries. And that was how the Virgin ended up in Africa. Right? So this is a plea to those who within audio and visual, who can speak to anyone, make reference. But we are reaching out and we are asking people in the Jamaican government, the foreign ministry to be specific, to reach out and through the embassies and consulates in Southern Africa and render this brethren assistance so he can come home. Again, he did not go from the completion of his sentence in prison to being deported. He was deported from the streets of New York. That was where he was deported from. He was reviewed by the parole system in New York State and found rehabilitated enough to be released back into society, even with a murder charge. And then because of policies now, a change of policy by the Trump administration, the man has now been transformed into the most barbaric so-called criminal, quote unquote, and then deported to a third-party country. And hurting most of all this, so we in Jamaica, we own Jamaican condemning, and they have no knowledge of the facts. This is how we cut and run with anything where white people say in this country. We take white people. Then again, it's not surprising because we all bow down and pray to pay a white man. If it's not the white man dollar on our pray to, it's the white man visa. If it's not the white man visa, it's the white man God. If it's not the white man God, it's the white man food. If it's not the white man food, it's the white man culture. So it is no surprise to see the way we're acting with misinformation. So we are pleading again, once again, anyone within viewing of this Gillie Priest Rastafari channel, anyone who can forward it to a third party, we are seeking assistance for this brethren. That some international organization or the foreign ministry of the Jamaican government can reach out to him and render him and make sure he can get released as soon as possible from solitary confinement in a country. I see a broadcast from the prison with the man in a. Sometimes they never feed the prisoner them. And let me say something about Harvey Littora for the years when I know him. He suffer from a stomach problem. Ever so often them have to transport him out of the prison system in New York. This was while he was incarcerated. And send him to outside hospital and they have to do whatever medical they did on his stomach. So he's a man who suffer from grave stomach problem and being locked up in solitary confinement in Africa, where prisoners, some of them places, they never get medical care. Worse like how him is seen and being plastered as the most barbaric criminal in the existence of this world. That now go help in medical condition. So the sooner we can render some type of assistance to him will be the better. So thank you once again. At the end of this broadcast, I have to go downtown, go meet with a representative of an organization who we may be able to collaborate with in terms of providing services and goods to people who are being deported. So until that time, brethren, blessings, brethren and system, one God, one aim, one destiny, peace, love, and unity. And don't forget one more time, don't forget in terms of contacting us, our contact number 876-880-0827. 876-880-0827. We may also be contacted at Forged by Time Limited. FORGED, Forged by Time @gmail.com. So Forged by Time Limited @gmail.com. And once again, 876-880-0827. We are also working out of the office at 131 Tower Street in downtown Kingston, right almost at the corner of Tower Street and Duke Street. We are there only on Tuesdays, and basically we operate by appointment. So please call us, please email us, please find some way to contact us. And once you find it worthwhile that you feel that you need to meet with us on a face-to-face basis, then we will set the appointment and the time for us to meet on Tuesdays at our office that we are operating out of. And this office is located within the Legal Aid Clinic building at 131 Tower Street in downtown Kingston. Thank you all very much.